Let's go. We got module 2. Let's get it started. I gave you a little intro on Friday, but this is where we really dig in and get to work. So we got percent problems. Yippee. All right, guess what? It's just another ratio. You know how we had equal ratios? We set up all sorts of proportions last lesson. Well, this is the same thing, except you're always comparing to 100. All right, so we have two things here. We got the percent proportion, we got the percent equation. Some of you will like one, some of you will like the other. You just have to find the way that works for you. I am going to require both for a little while, okay? And then you can slowly, as we go through the chapter, you can choose which one is going to be your way of doing things. Some might jump back and forth, but I'm pretty sure that most of you will pick one and stick with it because it makes sense to you. All right, let's just look at what a percent is. Okay, so it's just a ratio compared to 100. So let's just do some examples. Let's say we wanted to find right here, this is kind of a general format, but this whole bar represents 100%. Okay, so that's all of whatever we're talking about. So what if we were talking about, okay, all of the students in 7th grade, let's just say there's 200. All right, that's what we're going to say is equal to 100%. Well, then we see that, let's see, this is bar that represents all 200 students is broken up into 10 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So each box is like 10%. So let's say we want to find out 40% because that's 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes, right? We're going to figure out 40% of the 200. Okay, well, so 40%, if I want to find 40%, that means I'm looking for 40 out of 100, except we have 200 here. So 40% out of 200 would be, what's your guess? It would just be 80. Okay, and we can think, if we think proportion words, okay, if we're looking for 40 out of, if the percent is 40 out of 100, then how many would that be out of 200? Okay, so this is the whole down here, the part up here. This is the percent here, and this is 100, right? 40 out of 100. Okay, so that's the general idea. And I think that with some practice, we can all crush this chapter. Okay, so we're going to keep the 40% there, but what if I change this to, I don't know, what's an easy thing to do? 300. Yeah, I guess any multiple of. So if, right, the whole is 100%, and we're looking for 40 out of 100, how many out of 300? All right, so 300, 100, we're looking for 40 out of 100. So how many is that out of, well, 300? So that's times 3, so times 3. That gives us 120. All right, so it is, we're going to work on it as we go. All right, that's simple intro. Here we go. I'm going to shrink this so it fits. And we're going to rock and roll with a couple of these. So we got, oh, what's 70% of 60? Okay, well, each of these is 10. Now I did this on purpose to make it easy for us, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's 70%. All right. And our whole here, because we're taking 70% of 60, so our whole is 60. All right, we want to figure out, how much is that? How much is that? What would you guess it is? Just if you had to guess, like an estimate, like, would it be around 30? Well, no, because halfway would be there, right? Half of 60 is 30. So it's a little bit more, right? It's a little bit more. How much more? Let's see. All right, well, I can kind of think, well, since 60 is this whole bar from top to bottom, and it's broken up into 10 sections, each section would be 6. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 7 sets of 6. So that would be 7 sets of 6. 7 sets of 6 is 42. Okay, so 42 is 70% of 60. All right, so we're finding a percentage of a whole. A percentage of a whole is just a piece of a whole. All right, now I'm going to erase this and I'm going to try to have you guys think about the next one. Let's go. All right. Ooh, 20 is 40% of what number? Ooh, how is this different than the previous one? Think about it. Okay, see, this one said what is, this one says 20 is, okay? So this is giving you actually a different piece of the puzzle and you have to find the whole in this case. So 40% would be 1, 2, 3, 4, right? That's 40%. So we're going right to there, 40%. All right. And then we know that that amount is 20. Okay. So then what's the whole thing? What's the whole? If 20% is if 20 is 40%, then now what's this whole bar? What's that whole bar there? What is it? All right. Well, how can we figure that out? We could set up a proportion. We could use reasoning. We could use an equation once we learn that. Well, I see that 4 blocks is 20, so each has to be 5. So the rest of them have to be 5. That's 10 blocks of 5, so we got 50. So 20 is 40% of 50. Now, I'm a fan of the proportion. Since we're finding 40 out of 100, 40%, 20 is the 40%, so it's the part, it goes on top, and X on the bottom. Well, look, divide by 2, zoop, divide by 2, divide by 2, and bingo, we've got our 50. Okay, so these are some intro problems. Hopefully they're making sense to you. If not, okay, hang in there. You might want to rewind and rewatch. All right, let's look at this last one. Ooh, 6 is what percent of 30? Okay, this is tricky. All right, now it says what percent? All right, so we're looking for the percent, so we don't know that part. We know the whole is 30. We got 6 over here. Oh boy. 6. How are we going to represent that? How many blocks is that going to be? Well, if the whole is 30 and I broke it up into 10 blocks here, that means that these would each have to be 3 because 3 times 10 is 30. All right. So then 6 is what percent of 30? So 6, right? How many blocks would that be? That would be that many, okay? So then what percentage is that? Whoops. What percent is that? Huh? Right? It's going to be 20%. Okay, so 6 is 20% of 30. All right, so this is where we're headed. We're trying to get all these different things. This one said what is, this one said of what number, and this one said what percent. All right, so circle all those little pieces. Make sure you have the word what percent, of what number, and what is. Okay, those are there's some key phrases in there that you'll see some patterns and be able to use them to help you solve these. All right, hopefully you're plugging everything in. Man, I'm already 9 minutes in. I'm having so much fun. The time flies when you're doing math. Isn't that how the saying goes? Okay, well, we've got zoop up here, the percent proportion. You always put the part over the whole and then the percent over 100. Here we have percent, whole, and part in a multiplication. Now I will have you write this. We have to write this percent, right, as a fraction over 100 or as a decimal. Okay? So in the equation, that's the one part that people get confused on all the time, is that they have to keep moving decimals all over the place to get the right answer. But some of you will just naturally get that, and so that'll be your way to go. But all right. So first, we're going to find the part. Whoa. Find the part. How do we go about doing that? We're going to be finding the part on this first page. All right. So let's check it out and see if that makes sense to us. Kyle made 40% of his foul shots in the basketball game. He took a total of 15 foul shots. How many shots did he make? All right. I see some keywords. If I read that again, I see he took a total, right? That sounds like a whole to me. So we're going to divide this in half. We're going to show the proportion way over here. And then we're going to show the equation way over here. And I'll just scroll down so I can see those little formulas for us. Okay, so it said 40%. So when we find percent, we know percent means out of 100. So that goes over 100. And then it says he took a total of 15 shots. So I'm going to put 15 on the bottom because that's going to be my whole right there. And we're going to put X here, and that's going to be my part. All right. So that's the setup there. Now, if I want to do the, and you guys know how to solve this, right? Multiply those. Okay, that gets us 600. Then we divide by 100, divide by the 100, and we get X equals 6. So that means he made 6 foul shots. 6 foul shots made. Okay. Now, the second way to do it says just multiply the percent times the whole. Okay, we're taking a piece of a whole. And of means multiply. A lot of people learned that last year, maybe. So hopefully that clicks for you. Of means multiply. But remember, the percent has to be written as a decimal or fraction. So I'm going to quickly change that 40% into a decimal by moving the decimal over twice. So that's 0.40. You multiply that by the whole, and the whole here is 15. Why do we know it was the whole? Because it said total, and we just kind of read it. And we understand that, oh, that's all of it. So that's the whole, and we're looking for a piece of those that he made, because he made some, he missed some. So we're looking for the part over here. All right, well, we just multiply those. And when you type that into your calculator, it comes to, guess what? 6. Yes, it did. All right, so you got 6 foul shots made. All right, so that's our final answer. Hopefully, you're getting the hang of it already on just our first example. Okay, let's go to the next one. What is 30% of 260? All right, well, we're going to break this in half. We're going to set this proportion up. All right, and we're going to think of it as parts and wholes. So I like to circle the percentage right off the bat because I know that goes over 100. Boom. And then I'm going to look at the other parts of the problem. It says, what is 35% of 26? Okay, we're taking a piece of the 260. The 260 is the whole. All right, there's a little key clue here. A lot of times, not always, but a lot of times, the whole follows the word of. Just like you would say, can I have a piece of that candy bar? Do you see the candy bar is the whole thing? And it followed the word of, right? And my finger is part of my hand, right? What followed the word of there? My hand. My hand was the whole in that case. So a lot of times the number that follows the word of is your whole. All right, so now we have everything set up, and you can just multiply those two, divide by that one, and you can get your result. That comes to a grand total of 91. When we multiply and divide, we get 91. So 91 is 35% of 260. Right? If you were to draw a picture of the bar with like the percent, like the whole over here, 260, and this represents 100, and then you line up like the 91 and the 35. It should kind of make sense. Like it feels right. Like 35 out of 100 is the same as 91 out of 260, right? Like 35 kind of fits into 100 three times, and 91 kind of fits into 260 three times. So you kind of can see that equivalent ratio that we want when we're talking proportions. All right, well, some of you would rather just jump right to the equation, right? So you're doing the percent times the whole equals the part. So we're missing that part. We already know that. And the clues are, well, 0.35 is your percent, because you got to move the decimal over to make it a to change the percent to a decimal. And then it says of 260, and the word of can mean multiplication. It often does mean multiplication. So we put that multiplication symbol there, and we got the 260. Okay? And when we multiply that, we get 91. Okay, so there we go. We can rewrite it like that. I won't have us rewrite the whole thing again. We already did that. All right. Last practice problem of this type. Find 20% of 42. Well, let's divide it. Let's do this. And, so I see a percent. I like to circle that first, because that immediately eliminates that number and helps me not be confused. I know that that represents 20 out of 100. All right. And I'm seeing this phrase, this word of, typically the number that follows the word of is my whole. So then I'm just going to be looking for that guy there. All right. And what do we do? Cross multiply and divide. And rock and roll, we get 8.4. So 8.4 is 20% of 42. And if we plug these numbers into the equation, we know that the part times the whole the percent times the whole equals the part. So we convert that 20% into 0.20, or 20 hundredths. Percent means out of 100, so that means 20 hundredths times, we see the word of there, 42, and we know that that comes to 8.4, and it's 8.4 is 20% of 42. Woohoo! Oh, I thought that was the last one. I'm so sorry. Well, we got another one. Okay. Sarah's score is 150% of John's score. Now, did you even know that you could have a percent more than 100? How do you have more than a whole? Like 100 is the whole. 150% is what? More than the whole? How can it be called a whole if you can have more than it, right? Okay, well, just like, whole numbers, right? You could have one whole, or you could have 1.5 holes, or you could have 2 holes, or 3 holes, or 3.5 holes, right? You can't have more than the whole, more than one whole thing. So, like, exactly, you could have, like, when you get dessert, you get 1 whole cookie, but you probably want more than that. You could have 2 whole cookies. All right, so we're going to be talking about more than the whole. All right, Sarah's score is 150% of John's score. If John scored 700 points in the game, how many did Sarah score? Must have been a cool video game. You're scoring 700 points. Wow. All right, well, let's set up our proportion. It's going to be hard to figure this out, but I see my percent, so that's going to go here, and that's going to go there. All right, I circled a little bit sloppily here. There, I don't want to include that word is, because that helps us a little bit. All right, we got Sarah's score is 150% of John's score. So if we go ahead and think about this, okay, we're finding 100%, 150% of John's score, right? Whatever follows the word of is typically the whole, and that goes on the bottom. So do we know John's score? Oh, look, they tell us it over here. So I'm going to put that on the bottom. Now, what would go up here? Sarah's score is 150%. See how it says is 150%? It's like saying you have to line those two up because they're talking about the same thing, right? Sarah's score is 150. So the X for Sarah has to be across from the 150. Now, you know how to solve this, and then divide by that. And that comes to 1050. Go Sarah, go Sarah. Winning games, scoring points. Go Sarah. All right, that is what? How many did Sarah score? So how many what's points, right? Okay, so points. There we go. All right, and we did all the mental work there, but there's an interesting thing that happens here when we're multiplying by the percent, right? We're taking 150%, so that's actually one whole and then 50 hundredths more. So the whole and a little bit more, a whole and a half actually, of what though? Of John's score. So that's of the 700, and that gives us that, and we know that that comes to 1050 if we type it in, and so that boom is 1050 points for Sarah. Let's put that in there. I like to be thorough. Oops, Sarab. No, Sarah. All right, there you go. Now that is a lot of writing, a lot of thinking. I hope you hung in there. Good luck with some practice, and make sure you show your work. All right, you can email me with any questions. Good luck.